Welcome back. This is the last section now for the puffin. So we're going to now have a look at tackling the fish. There's quite a lot of detail in there, so you don't necessarily have to put every bit of detail in, so I'll leave that up to your discretion. I'll show you how I'm going to put a couple of them in, and then you can fill in the rest yourself. Let's first look at, on this side here, we've got this one here. So let me zoom in just a little bit so you can see it a bit better. Can you see him? So you've got one coming that way, and then there's one going underneath him. So we'll try them two first. And as I say, there's quite a lot of detail there, so we don't need to put all of the detail in, but we'll put as much as we want in. Okie dokie, so let me just put that there. Again, the workmen are outside, so please excuse the noise. Right, so I'm going to do this one that's going underneath first. So I'm taking a look at it close up, and it's got some sort of aqua bluey greens in it. A little bit of grey on the top. If you've got an iPad and you can zoom in, there you go, you can see there. So this is the section. I'm going to do this section first. So we've got some bluey greens and a bit of grey there, and this will be just paper that's left. Okay, so, and we've got a little bit of burnt umber up at the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm using some clean fresh water, and I'm just going to wet this section here. Let me get a piece of cloth to wipe my brush on. Okay, so you can see where the water is there, and just carefully coming down here. I've just dried the brush off, and I'm just now going over with a dry brush just to make sure I haven't got any puddles or too much water on there. So I can see from looking at the monitor on the video, it's actually just nicely sparkling water. So as long as we've got that sheen on there, we can work with it. So the colours I've picked is, I've got some phthalo blue, and I've mixed a bit of green in with it to make it look a bit more aqua as well. So these are the two colours in the centre. That's the phthalo blue and that's the aqua. So what I've done with that is the phthalo blue, and I've just added in a little bit of ultramarine. And you get that sort of greeny colour. I've had a bit of yellow in as well. So now we've got that damp, I can see we've got this bluey colour, so I'm just getting a little bit of it on my brush, and we've got it sort of, so I'm just going to drop this colour in sort of all the way down here. So drop that there, and then clean the brush off, and I'm just going to actually pull a bit of it out so it's a bit lighter. Okay, and then also with that, I'm just going to dab in some of this aqua colour. Okay, just leave it to move for itself, and then I can see I've gone a bit much there, so I'm just going to lift out some of that colour there and just soften that edge in. Okay, so we'll let that bit dry, and then we're going to put some burnt umber there, and we've got a bit of burnt umber on this, showing the shadow of this, of the beak. Also I can see here, coming up to there, we have got a shadow on the beak because it goes under, it's quite a thick bill. So what I'm going to do with that is I'm just going to pick up a little bit of burnt umber on my brush, and I'm literally putting a bit of that on up to this fish's head on this side. And it's going to create, and then I'm just going to clean the brush and just soften in a bit there. So we have got a little bit of a shadow there. I'm hoping you can see it. Just put a little bit more in. Okay, so you can see there we've got a little bit of a shadow. So that's where the thickness of the bill is going, and then we have obviously got more shadow coming. So it actually comes down here slightly, down here, and then it comes back up. We get a nice thinner brush. So I'm just going to go for the 00 for this. Again, like I said, it's whatever brush you're comfortable with. So I'm just getting the 00, and I'm just literally, because that line's a bit thick, so I'm just going to sort that out. So that's the corner of the bill, and then that goes up into that shadow, okay? And then we've also got some burnt umber. I'm not going to wet this, I'm just going to, because it's damp anyway, so I'm just going to put this dark umber there, dry the brush off, and then just smooth it. And then if I need to, I can just reintroduce some more of these colours here, like that. And then I'm just going to pull out where the white of the paper is going to be. Okay. So I think what I'm actually going to do is I'm not going to wet the paper. I'm going to actually just put the colour in and hope and soften the edges. I put them in. I don't need to. It's just spreading a little bit far. So I'll just clean that off. That's better. Okay. So now what I need now is a bit of burnt sienna to this. It is a bit darker, so I'm going to add a little bit of burnt sienna to the burnt umber. Okay, and just dab it in there, and then just dab it down this side here. Okay, and then that continues down here. Okay, it sort of comes round there. So I'm just really looking at the fish and trying to put in the sort of main detail. I'm not going to go ballistic with the detail, but I just want the main detail in. So that comes up there, and then we have got some grey. So the grey that we used for the puffin earlier in the early video, that's what I'm going to use. I've got plenty of that left. Dab my brush. So if you look, it gets really dark here on the top. So the idea with this is you're really sort of drawing the fish in, basically, and just looking and putting in the dark shapes and try and get the shapes. Okay, and then we've got the eye. With the sand eel there, and then we've got some of that, some of the browny colour that we had here on the top of the nosy bit there, and coming down here. So that blends in with that dark. Comes down here. This splits slightly. Okay. And then that's got like a belly bit there. Okay, so I'm drawing some of this detail in as we go along. Now I can see it's got a little bit of a purple colour, so I'm going to get some blue and mix a little bit of the blue with some of this, with some of the red. So don't forget the colour will dry lighter, so it's quite a nice purple. So I'm going to put in a little bit of this purple just here, sort of comes there and then through here. Okay. And then there's also a bit of purple here. And then I'm just actually going to, so for detail I think that's enough. I'm just now going to soften some of this in and fade it away. So just blend all that and soften it in. And you get some of the different colours that you can see there on the fish. And we have got a bit of a pinky colour going on. Inside here, but you're not going to see it because of the blue background, so I'm just going to, okay. So basically this is really you looking at your individual piece and just putting in as much detail as you want to and missing out detail that you don't want to put in. Okay, so I'll put some of the detail in but not all of it, but as you can see we've got a nice shaped eye and we've got some nice colours there that's blended away. Okay, so that's one of the fish, so that's that one coming down there. So now I'm going to work on the fish above. So I am going to wet this slightly, but just on one side, and I'm only going to wet it as far as his eye. Okay, so he's got quite a blue section here at the top. I'm just going to tap that in and then wipe my brush and then just soften that away. And then it's got a little bit of this aqua blue, greeny blue. I'm just picking some of that up. I'm just going to tap some of that in here, but not everywhere, just in places. And then pull it and soften it. Soften that edge ever so gently. Just tapping the brush along that edge, and it's a dry brush, not a, or a damp brush should I say, not a wet brush or a dry brush. And then we've got this is the white piece that's left from the fish above. Okay, so I'm just literally going to tap in a bit more of that colour there, and we needed some of that blue in there as well. So I've got the blue in there now. Tap it so it blends in, because that is still slightly damp. So that just blends in there. Okay. So as we come up, we've got this purpley colour going on again here. So I've got some purple coming around his eye here. Around the top of his eye there. Okay. A little bit there. And then we've also got a little bit of the purple. I'm just going to put some lines in there. And then we've got the blue coming from the top of his eye to this edge here. And then, again, I'm just going to pick up some of this, the burnt umber, or the grey, sorry. I'll pick up some of this grey. Tap it on my brush, I don't want it to run everywhere. And then here, I'm just going to tap in some of this grey colour. And then right under this side here, we've got the grey. It goes up to that one there, and that starts on that one there. So that's a dark colour. So then I'm just going to clean my brush, soften that edge. If you need to, you can actually pull some of this colour out if you want, using a bit of kitchen roll and your eradicator. So I've got my eradicator here, and I'm just going to pull it out. There we go. And just tap that there. And then I can put the grey again. So I'm using quite dry paint here because I don't want it to spread everywhere. So the thicker the paint, the less it'll spread. But that means then you can just dampen your brush, take the excess water out, and then just soften that edge. There we go. And then we also need the darkest grey, or the near black as we can get, just for the eye. Again, tap the excess off your... So at this stage it's quite imperative that you tap your brush, because you don't want a big blob of paint to drop. Okay. I'm just going to take a bit of that paint out just there if I can. There we go. Like I say, the detail in this, you're not really going to see that much, but okay. So that's two of the fish in. So you just need to work yourself along and just try and put blocks of colour in where you can see the colour, and that should put your fish together. So I'm just now going to do this one here that's sort of on its side. So because it's laid on its back, it's got blue there inside the eye and a bit of blue here coming around, and then it's got some blue here, and then it goes into it's got like a pinky colour, pinky purpley colour under here. So I'm just dropping these colours in, then it goes fairly light down there, and then we've got the grey again, the dark grey. Again, tap your brush. We've got the dark grey here on the top, so that's his nose. That's around there, and then we can, again, it's got a bit of dark there, and then he's got this black on his eye there, and then you can just circle around the eye. And then he's got this bit of dark there, and also you want to outline where he's coming over, so you can see he's sticking out, his belly is sticking out, so he's upside down and sticking outside the beak. So soften that away like that. Okay, so that's that one. So that's him there. So you might not see him very well, but let's have a look if we can. There he is. So it's just about dabbing colour in, really, where you see it, and then that should give you the idea of the fish. So I'm moving on now. So if you want, you can watch me do the rest of them. So like this one here is, we've got a bit of green under there, some olive green on this one. I'm just using a very weak green. Again, I'm just putting the colour in, and then I'm just going to blend it with a soft, damp brush. Okay. Take the excess water out and just blend it so it's a bit lighter as it comes up to that other fish. But if you look at it, it's a greeny colour. Okay, so I'm just going to dab a bit more of that green randomly around this line here. So it just darkens that edge a little bit. Just tap it in. And then there is a bit of a grey. So I'm going to pick some of the grey up. It's the lighter grey. I'm just looking, so we've got a bit of grey here. That goes down into a triangle just there. So that's all there is on that one. And this one's got to look as though it's coming round and out, so we need to shape that a little bit. So it's got purple at the top, so I'm just going to get this purple. So it's coming from here and it's sort of coming around here and down that way. Make that round. And the purple sort of comes across there and then round here. Okay. So I'm just going to soften that in. And then we've got blue coming down here. Let me just pick that up again. So I've got some blue. So the blue, I don't know why, but the blue just isn't working. Right, so the blue, there we go. So the blue comes round there and a bit round there. Coming down here. Okay, now I'm just going to soften that in because it looks a bit harsh. Now what I'm doing is I'm pulling horizontal strokes curved over the top of the paint, so it's pulling the paint out to each side, but it's curved because that fish that's the back of the fish, so I want it to look like it's got some scales on it. So just by doing that, as you can see close up, you're not going to get a lot of precise detail, but can you see just by doing a motion like that and curving it with your hand so it curves that way, like that, you will get a bit of a scaly look. And then we've got some dark grey, which goes under here, on the underside, like that, and then it just comes down as an outline on that side of the fish there. And then it comes right down here, and then just here we've got another line of that dark. I've got another line of that dark here, and that comes right down here, and then that sort of sits okay, and then also outline it from this side with a bit of a thicker line of the grey, and then you do that line there and that line there. And then what I'm going to do is, again, I'm just going to damp brush and I'm just going to move it so it looks like we've got a bit of a scaly bit going on there, and then it's quite dark here at the bottom. Okay. Well, like I say, you're not going to get every little bit of detail in here, and you don't really need it. You just need to put in a little bit so that it gives you the impression of what's there. Okay. So as you see, I'm working along that side, and then the next bit is it's just near enough all grey. It's a sort of a purpley reddy grey, but like what we had on the top. So if you look, I'm doing it so it comes around here. So I'm going in the direction of form. Now it is a little bit darker just down this side, because it's disappearing, it's in the shadow. So again, just make sure it gives you that shape. Okay, and then I'm just going to fill that in with the purpley grey. Okay, now I might put some markings back on here with some white gel pen at the end, just to give some impression of things that are happening. And also I might pull some paint out. So I can see a black shadow coming round here. And then we've also got that black line. And a black line down there. Okay. I'm just going to put this one in here where we've got the head. So he's got a dark outline. And then that's where his face sort of, or the mouth bit disappears. And then that's dark, so I can outline him completely. Okay. I need some dark for his eye, so I've got some of that still left. So I'm going to pop in his pupil. And then he's got a dark line around his eye. And then he's got, there's a bit of a light piece there, and then all this is dark. Okay, and then he's got all these bits of shapes that's going on here. And up to his eye. And then he's got this dark bit around his hat, around his eye, and also on the top there. And then underneath he's got a little bit of this purpley colour. And a little bit of the pink as well. Okay. Okay. Then we've got, so this one is quite white, it's quite light, but up at the top here, oops, I'm only going to wet up here because it has got some colour. And it's turning that way, so I'm just going to put the colour for the water further than where I want the paint to go. And then I'm just going to get this colour I'm just going to drop it in, so it comes up here, drop that in, following. So again, if you go that way and pull it over, it might look like it's giving a bit of texture. So we've got that bit, and then we've got some blue. Some blue going off here as well. So again, just blending that blue in. And then it's got a line down there and a line. So these lines are very thin, they're just parts of the scaling on the fish, so I'm only doing them very thin and light. I'm not sort of making them stand right out. Like that. And then again, just pull some of that. And then leave quite a bit of the white on there as well. Okay. And then at the bottom, purple comes where this eye is. That's where the purple comes into it, so there's a bit of purple there, so I'll pull that across as well in that direction. And a line down there from that. Okay, and then just soften that lot in. So it's nice and soft and blurred. And then up here at the top, what we didn't put in last night, I'm just going to put in near his bill, is we've got this little bit of a red, and it follows the line of where the fish are up to there. Okay, that's in the bottom of the bill. So we've got a dark section, comes down here. Quite broad, and that comes right down here, and then we've got a little bit of the red in there, and a little bit of some burnt umber at this side, and then just soften that into the white tail. So soften that in and soften it back up there. Okay. And then we've also got a dark line. It goes so far up here and then disappears. Got that line there. That, okay. Also, you can dot some of the lines and that in. That adds to the texture. So now I'm looking at this bit here. That's quite dark down here. Okay, we've got an eye peeking out there, and a bit of blue there. Okay. Okay, and then I've got some green here, and a lot of this is green as well. So like I say, you're not going to get that much detail. If you try to put in too much detail, you can lose, the effect that you're looking for. So just put in as much detail as you need just to show exactly what you're trying to achieve. Okay, and that goes down into a white bit in his tail. There we go. Oops, I'm knocking everything over. That's a good start. And then this bit here, most of this bit is dark. Got one bit that's blue that comes around here and round that way. A little bit of blue there. So we've got some coming that way, some going that way. So again, just break it up with some line work that way, just so it looks like it's going across, and then it's got a little bit of the pink in there as well. So I'm actually going to put some of this pink in here. Okay. And then we've got this one that comes out here, which is blue, purpley blue. So it's a little bit darker. That's it. That comes round there, like that. And that goes to that bit there that's a white. And then we've got this darker colour on this side. We've got some blue coming out here. and then some colour in there. So I'm just sort of blotting colours in and blending them, but where I see dark colours, I have got dark colours, and where I've got light colours, where I can see light colours, I've got some light colours there. That's a dark colour there. And we've got a bit of dark blue there and a bit of dark blue there. And we've got purple. I don't know if that's a fish's mouth or something. That's sort of gaping. And then we've got these colours here again. Just blend them in. And then down here we've got, blend these colours here, and then we've got some dark colours, some dark grey to add in. So we've got dark here. So this is just sort of outlining some of the fish, and then again just dotting in some of the detail. We've got some dark there. So I've got sort of a triangular piece there. And then here we've just got there we go. So that's it for the fish. Okay, so it's just a case of putting in colours and shapes what you can see, but you're not going to see them all. So just get what you can get in, and then the rest you just leave and sort of leave it, and you will, as long as you do the like these that are curling out of his mouth, you know, go in the direction of form, and then we've got all these that's hanging over the top, and then to give it some texture for scales, I would just use the point of your brush and just either, if it's damp enough, pull it over in an arch and then put some dots in as well, and that will give you, then you've got the texture and you can see exactly where it's supposed to be, and it's fish in the bird's mouth, and that's it. So I haven't put in a great amount of detail, but there's enough detail there for you to see what's supposed to be in his mouth. So that's in there. So now it's just a case of what I always say to people is you can either put the piece away for a couple of days or even a couple of weeks, and then fetch it back out, and if you think it needs any alterations doing, then fine. Or you can have a look round now, and if you see anything that you really need to do. So here on this fish, I can just put in some bits of white where I missed it, and then I can also dot it in so it looks, so that's adding texture to where some of the fish are. So here we had quite a bit of white up here, so okay. Put some dots on, so it just makes it, gives it a bit of texture, and you know exactly what you're looking at there. Okay. It's got enough in his highlight. Just see, we've got a few little white hairs that appear coming out of his body here. It's only the odd one or two, but that's it. He's got some coming out of here. Some of these feathers have got some white bits on them. So just push them in. I don't like using the gel pen too much, but if there's some white bits that we need to sort out, then I will put them in. Okay. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to put on a just want to soften a little bit of the of this grey colour on here. I just want to soften some of these. Some of these feathery bits on here, but just want to soften them out a little bit. Okay, and then blend that away. So I'm just looking around to see if there's any alterations I can make that may make an improvement. I mean, they may not, but I just want to have a look. So another way is that you can put the gel pen, just put some little markings, but then rub them so they're not quite so stark. It just shows you where the feathers are coming out and some are crossed hatch. And just do that, and then that just gives you, and if you're not happy with it, you can just then get some of the grey, very watery, so it's like a glaze again, and just put a glaze over the top, and that'll soften them out. Okay, so there we go. So that is now, as far as I can see, that's now finished. So let's have a look at the reference photograph. So let me pull the zoom button. Right, so it's right out there. Okay, so that's the Puffin painted, and that's the Puffin. So the colours are slightly different, but we have got the movement and the depth and the illusion that we have got fish coming out of his mouth. And we've got all the illusions that we need on the fish as well. Okay, so that's completed. So I hope you enjoy doing it. The hardest part is going to be the fish if you're not used to it, but as I say, the colours you just need to put in small amounts of paint, so I wouldn't put it in too wet, and then just blend it and try and leave some of the white of the paper for the sort of silvery look on the skin of and scales. For the scales, you just need to either, if you can, move your brush across that way, curving it, or just dotting, and just putting these different colours in, because the sand eels do have some very colourful, iridescent colourful sections on them, which are nice when they're done. Okay, so that's this piece finished. I hope you enjoy doing him as I've enjoyed it. So I'll be now planning the next piece that should be out in a couple of weeks. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoy painting him.